Alright guys, we are back on the 1570 today. It is the first day of mud season, I guess you would say. It is 62 degrees here, which for the first week of March in Pennsylvania is, well, that's pretty good. It's supposed to be snowing by the end of the week though, but we're going to take advantage of it. And Dad already took advantage of it while I was at work. He is changing out the rocker cover gaskets here and checking the valves. And he's already got the back two heads done. We're going to do the front head now. And we're putting a bigger, newer turbo on and doing some gaskets. He had to do exhaust manifold gaskets because it had a couple of those blown out. A couple other little adjustments here and there, cleaning stuff up. Ideally, we would have pressure washed this first because that's filthy. But we put this away, right before winter hit, and then it's been really cold. It's been below freezing all but, 10 days since Christmas. So we didn't have a chance to wash it off. We don't want to wash it off now because it'll freeze up tonight, probably, or tomorrow night. So we're going through. We're going to be very careful when we take stuff off not to drop chunks of grease and oil down in places they don't belong. We've got cheap stocking caps, or cheap insurance of not getting stuff down in holes they don't belong in. We got that there on the intake, this here on the exhaust. I think he might have had one here somewhere else, I don't remember. You'll notice right there, the air cleaner's not in there. It's over there on the corn planter. On a 13 and 1570, I think 1270 is the same as well. You can get it out without pulling the cab. It's a puzzle. It's not exactly fun. You have to take out one of these risers here. I believe it's that one. Problem being, that is threaded into coolant. So when you take that out, you want to have this pipe plug here ready. Otherwise, you'll lose all your coolant down to that level because the top of the radiator is higher than that. And you can see there, it was a bit of a geyser until he got that plug in there. Another thing to watch out for, some of the kits have these little tiny washers for the rocker cover gaskets. Or rocker cover, I suppose they're a gasket. They go underneath the nut. They're a rocker cover washer, I suppose. They tend to leak. The newer ones we have to put on here are big. They're almost as big as the steel washer there. Those are the ones that if you have a choice you want to run. I'm going to walk you through adjusting the valves. This one, among other things, so these have been done before because that was finger tight, which isn't good. This one was just barely snug. So that's probably part of the reason these were leaking. And because of using the small washer instead of the big washer. So you want to take your air cleaner out, obviously, your hood, all that. What else does he have off over there? Your air cleaner stack. The top cover makes it easier. We happen to have the turbo and air pressure line off, and the oil lines off because we're doing a turbo. These are 11/16, and you don't want to crush these down too hard when you tighten them up because you can deform the rocker covers. However, you don't want to leave them finger tight either because then they'll rattle loose and spray oil everywhere like this kind of has going on, dripped down over the side. The breather pipe there's kind of pulled off to the side as well. You'll have to pull that off. I don't know off the top of my head what size the bolts are to do that. So there's those. There is a big steel washer, kind of looks like a disc blade down here. Can't get my fingers onto it. I'll get a screwdriver. So take a screwdriver, pop underneath there. Same thing over here. Just like that. There's that. So you see the little rubber seal there is rather small. And pretty much everywhere except where the steel washer was sitting, there is oil and gunk. It may have been these ones leaking as well. I'm not 100% sure. On this one, I'm going to come in from the front. So there's less chance of hurting things up here than there is on the back. I'm going to get the screwdriver in there if I can. Nope, I can't with one hand. And I'm going to pop that loose. I don't want to hurt the fuel lines by prying on this side, so I'm going to go over there. Another neat little feature that they don't really put on tractors anymore, that I know of anyway, or that I've seen, they put all this information on here. So model, it's an A504 BDT. That's the 504 diesel turbo. Full load RPM, no load RPM. Your valve clearances are on there. 15 intake, 25 exhaust, fuel pump timings, 30 degrees, before top dead center. 3,200 PSI for injector pressure. I think that's all that's on there. So yeah, that's pretty cool that's all right there. That looks gorgeous inside there. Nice and clean. Little skim oil and everything. This one, the valve springs are red, which I have never seen before. But I haven't been this deep into a lot of these. To adjust the valves, it's a 9/16 wrench and a flathead screwdriver on this one. So these three are tight. I can adjust the last one, and then I can turn it over with the breaker bar on the crank pulley and get to the other three. So here we've got the not sure which book this is. This is the INT book for the cases and David Browns of the 70s. There it shows which are intake, which ones are exhaust. So we'll show the front of the engine, exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust. So we can do this, which is an exhaust valve. The other three, we'll have to turn the motor to get to, but that's what they are. So what I like to do is I'll take my feeler gauge, get it in there, and it's sitting in there pretty decent right now. That's the 25 because this is exhaust, and I can still move it some. Okay, so we know there's clearance beyond the 25. We need to tighten that up. Normal feeler gauge set only goes up to 25. This one appears to go thicker. So we could check and see if it's at 26. Judging by the feel that I have from being a machinist, that is more than a thousandths or two. So we're going to go ahead and break that loose and snug it up till the 25 feels kind of stiff going through there. But I would say we're probably in the probably 27, 30, 32 area. And out of curiosity, I'm going to check with these. Just put down there in the comments what you think it is based on that little bit of play, and we'll see who's right. So I checked that valve and it checks at about 30, so we're going to adjust it because it's not right. I'm going to have to go catch that wrench here in a minute. Figure out where it ended up. So what we're going to do, I have my phone propped up on the AC compressor. So we're going to hold the screwdriver, pop that loose. Wow, those are tight. Okay, and being that that is, so we got that loose just a little bit, we want to tighten the screwdriver up just a tad and then check it again. Because it doesn't take much to take up that 5,000 slop. So that's dragging pretty good there. Go a touch more. See where we're at. Take the wrench off for a better feel. Yeah, we're pretty good there. So, same thing, we're going to put the wrench on. We're going to put the screwdriver up top. We're going to snug that back up. Holding the screwdriver, turning the wrench. And And then I go back in. I guess I should have taken the feeler gauge out, but we'll double check it. That way, in case it moved, there's a tiny little bit of play there, but that's less than a thousandth, I'd say. You want to make sure that it doesn't move while you're tightening it up, because then it'll be wrong. So you go back and check it when you're done tightening it up. Now I have to move the motor one turn, which will allow me to do these other 3 valves here. Alright, so slack on all those. I'll adjust those up now. Alright, so valves are adjusted. Got the old gasket off. I'm going to clean a little bit of this. Not sure if that's paint or what that is in there. Got the old gasket out, and I took a screwdriver because you can't really get in there any other way. Ran around the outside, got the little bits of stuck gasket off. Sometimes they'll just peel off in one piece, other times you really got to scrape on them. This time it came off pretty decent, but there's a couple pieces I had to scrape on. So that's done. We're gonna throw the new gasket down in there. Just like that. And you want to make sure it doesn't suck in. Some rocker cover gaskets, they'll suck in kind of like that and not seal. The David Brown ones are really bad for doing that just because of the shape of the gasket, and they're not super wide. These ones aren't as bad because there's a lot of stuff that can hold them from going places. So you got that on there like that. Dad went ahead, cleaned the cover up for me. So it's nozzle opening pressure is 3200 psi. My bad. Anyway, those are gorgeous on the inside, and they were pretty good when they came off. So this gets set back down on there like that. Seated good. Got that there. So those are the bigger rubber pieces I was talking about. That's what was on there. These are a Reliance engine parts kit, or the bigger ones. I'm not sure what the smaller ones are, but they have the big ones now. So there's that. I'll clean the washers up real quick and then put the nuts on. So we're putting a bigger turbo on that. And a newer turbo. So the one here, this is an Air Research brand turbo. It's still in pretty good shape, but it's worn. It's not bad. It had some weird harmonic whistles to it that weren't the best, but it was still making power, still making boost. This is premium 1978 technology when that tractor was built. We got this turbo for a project, and then another project blew up and we stole the turbo off of that to put on the other project. So now we've got this. This is a Borg Warner. This is like mid 80s, early 90s turbo technology. This is what would have been on a 1990 466 International truck engine or combine engine. So the goal here is that's worn. We have that on the shelf. It's new. It's bigger. We can make more boost with it. And if you guys watched the drive home video from that, it was smoking a fair bit. The goal with this is to turn that smoke and noise into horsepower that we can put into the ground instead of just smoke and noise, because there's no sense in turning diesel fuel into smoke and noise. We want power. So for scale here, I don't work in millimeters for turbos, but I have a tape measure. So this turbo will bolt in exactly where that other one was. But if you look at it, the housings are way bigger. And we have there's the old one for the fin geometry. There's the newer one. They're all doubles that are in good shape. Those are also double blades, but they are a little bit of chipping and stuff on them. We are back on the 1570 today, getting it all buttoned up, ready to put the duals on it, because spring is just about here, even though it's going to get cold next week. Dad was spreading some lime today. Today is March 12th. The turbo's in there. It just barely fits. Dad actually threw some washers under the air cleaner assembly to get it to sit high enough that it would actually clear. We're going to fire this up here in a minute. Double check we don't have any leaks, because we had some various lines off. That fuel line broke off, so we put a new end on it. Rocker cover gaskets, oil lines for the turbo, all kinds of stuff we had apart. So we're going to run it without the tin on it for a few minutes, make sure everything's okay, no leaks. Then we'll put the tin back on it once we have the duals on it and give it a good wash. So yeah, new turbos on. New manifold gaskets. Fixed that fuel line that snapped off on us. I think that's about it for this side. So for this side, nothing super crazy. Had to put a different hose clamp up there. Got the original muffler back on it that's supposed to have not that goofy stack that was on it. It's kind of cool, but funnels rain in like a funnel. And we don't want water getting down the exhaust. Whereas that, which is a 2470 exhaust tip we welded onto the other muffler, should work just fine. Still have some other tidying up to do. We got a little bit of an oil leak down there, but that is probably from the rocker covers dripping. We'll power wash that off and do some other little tweaks and adjustments, but we're pretty much ready to go here. So we're up here in the cab. What we're going to do here is we're going to crank it with the fuel off for a minute till we get good oil pressure, because we want to get oil into that turbo. That turbo is a brand new turbo. It's never had oil in it, so we want to make sure we get oil into the turbo before she fires up and starts spinning. So we're going to crank it with the fuel off. Make sure we're neutral. Apparently it doesn't like that neutral. Or that neutral. Some of these neutral safety switches are really picky. The one on our 1270 is. Maybe there. Nope. We'll be right back. So we ended up having to get a set of batteries for this. The ones that were in it were rather old. So it's been a few days. I'm going to fire it up, take it outside, make sure it's not leaking, and attempt to put the duals on. So here's where we're at. I drove the tractor up on some blocks, get the inner tire up a little bit so the dual slides in better. I threaded all the eyelets on there, or rings, or whatever you want to call them. Ran them on by hand, and I took a big screwdriver and popped them so they're tight, leaned into them a little bit. I got those nuts on here to run on as far as I can with an impact with a regular deep well. We don't have an extra deep socket, So I'm going to run 2 of them on with the wrench. They're 1.125". I don't know why that wrench is marked. Must have belonged to whoever MCG is. Anyway, I'm going to get 2 of them tightened up as tight as I can with the wrench. And then I'm going to back the tractor up onto blocks on the other side. And I'll get the other dual around and get 2 clamps tightened up on it. And Dad's going to make a extra deep socket tonight, but he's trying to get one last load of lime spread for the night. But that'll get a good start on this. And with 2 on there, it's safe enough to move it back 4 feet up on the blocks, and they won't fall off when it rains and snows and storms for the next 10 days, because we've got thunderstorms and snowstorms and all kinds of stuff coming here. First day of spring is tomorrow, and well, it's summer today. It's 74, I think, today, 74 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's going to be in the 30s and 20s in a couple of days. So we're trying to get everything done that we can. It's too wet for tillage, but we can do lime and work on equipment until the weather turns worse, and then hopefully we can get some more things done. There he is, spreading back there. So, change of plans. Dad made me a socket. We took a deep well Harbor Freight 1.125" socket, 1/2-inch drive, cut it in half. You can still see the Pittsburgh on it there, and we welded a piece of pretty heavy duty pipe in there. It's 1.25" pipe. It's got some sharp edges on it. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's plenty big enough for those, which is awesome. Got the duals on it. Guys, it's got a cup holder. Not quite. I probably ought to put a fire extinguisher back in there. Here we go, first time in the field with it. AC's blowing coldish. And we're gonna tear up some dirt up here today. 2 fields down, 1 field to go today. Slight exhaust leak, maybe. The elbow up there after the turbo's cracked, but it's go time. We're not fixing it now. It's not going to hurt anything. Fuel cap leaks, but we're going to fix that. We just got to get the auto parts store to get one. They already closed today. Thing's doing a really nice job. The dirt's already starting to get Slightly dusty on top today. We got a nice breeze, but it's supposed to rain on and off for the next 10 days. But we did this field diagonal. I left the waterway there alone. Did it diagonal to try to break it up a little bit because we were getting ridges from driving across it so many years. Brilliant's doing really good. They're a perfect match as far as horsepower to implement. You sink it in too deep, you sink it in the whole way, tractor bogs down, bring it up just a touch, it sits there at 12 pounds of boost and just takes it. And like I had a rock stuck in the other field, and you knew it when the rock got stuck in the front gang. These springs work way better than the ones on our Taylor way plow that we have. I really like this design.